Welcome to the channel that is about all things career development. So that is bursaries, learnerships, graduate programs, as well as growing your career all the way to the C-suite. If that is you, hit the subscribe button. I look forward to getting to know you. Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Untitled Chapter. I'm a youth development specialist by day, so a lot of the topics that I cover here are based on my career as a youth development specialist and a skills development facilitator. So 2 years ago there is a video that I did which was talking to the young person who wants to apply for a scholarship or a bursary. So I thought, let me do a follow-up, and what this video will cover is a follow-up to, and also at the end I'll provide you with a template of the kind of questions that you should, or maybe not questions, this is a reflection tool that will help you to, one, write your bursary or scholarship application, but also will also help you to prepare for an interview if the funder does interview. So and yes, by day I do work for a funder who funds young people for different things, internships, bursaries included. So one of the things you want to do, I spoke about in the video, that it is important to know yourself. And I realized that, what does that mean? Know yourself. What on God's planet does that mean? So think about it this way. When I say know yourself, think about what are some of your values. And your values are those things, are those things that influence your behavior. You know, we do not see a value, but your behavior shows us that that is, for example, a value. So some examples of values are integrity, respect, you could even say accountability, and those, for example, are some of my personal values, and there's then obviously my behavior would show that that is a value. And also think about what are some of your strengths and weaknesses. So especially in the area of around weaknesses, I've experienced both, especially when we've interviewed candidates for the final round before we give them funding. Most candidates are quite reluctant to tell us what are their weaknesses. So maybe if the word weakness does not sit well with you, think about those things that you would say are your area of development. No one is perfect, so please never say you do not have a weakness. And if you are not sure what are some of your weaknesses or your strengths, please ask people who love you. Think about, there's those things that people have often said you are good at. And also then just ask your teachers, your parents, what they see as some of the areas of development. Maybe let's leave the word weaknesses. What are those areas that you still need to grow in and develop in? Okay, and also jot those down. And also we are still at know yourself. And what have you been in your high school career, possibly for the past 5 years? Have you been involved in any community projects or corporate social investment projects? Have you volunteered? Have you tutors at your local church or any other institution? Have you done anything else for other people besides just yourself? And note down those things. Write as many as you can. And remember, at this point, we are still just collating or collecting data that will help us to write our cover letter as well as to prepare for an interview. And also think about one of the things that we also look for is like, how do you have leadership skills? And when I say leadership skills, I'm not talking about being just the captain of the rugby team or being the captain of something specific. But even in your home, maybe you are the eldest sibling. You actually at some point have had to take that leadership role. There's different ways. So if you are a captain of anything, that is awesome, that is brilliant, do include that. But if you are not, you actually do have leadership skills. So think about some of those situations where You have demonstrated leadership skills. Have you been able to resolve conflict? When things do not go your way, think about what are some of those situations where things did not quite go the way you would have liked, but hey, life continues. So think about those situations. And so those are the reflections on the Know Yourself section. And at the end of the video, I will also share with you of how to get this information. I've prepared a template for you to make it easier. And then also, it's important that you know a little bit about the field of study that you want to go into. So, and this is based on real life experiences that I've had with candidates, where we are now at the final stage. We want to offer them a scholarship or a bursary, and we ask them, what do you know about your career? What are some of the companies that would fund you, that would hire you once you have this qualification? And candidates or applicants would just draw an absolute blank. And whilst I care, but the truth is, if there is we are interviewing 150 of you and we're only giving funding to 75, and your results are the same, all things being equal, who am I going to take? I'm going to then prefer the person who knows a little bit more about the industry that they want to study for or go into. So in order to prepare for that, do a Google search. Do a Google search on the top companies that actually fund. No? Do a Google search on the companies that actually hire the types. Maybe you want to be a data scientist. What are some of the companies that would hire you? Or you want to be a civil engineer. What are the companies in your country or even in your continent that actually then fund, that would actually employ civil engineers? And in what capacity, for example, would they be employing you as a civil engineer? And also think about, do research on what are some of the professional associations that you would need to be involved with. And the nice thing about this one, you'll also find out about other bursaries there, but also a number of them, they also do even have affiliate opportunities for students, and that we can go on and on about that. Even as you grow, it will help you to build relationships, because ultimately you want to be employed, whether you one day employed as an entrepreneur or you're employed as a normal employee. So do that research. And also then research some of the universities or tertiary institutions that offer the qualification that you want to do. And yes, I would assume by the time you are applying for a bursary, I would like to assume that you have started also with your application process for entering a tertiary institution. And I've spoken about, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes so I do not waffle, I stay on point. So also in just the researching of the industry, also Google things like a day in the life of, or just if you can, you do know any people who do that job, conduct what is called an informational interview and just ask them some questions around what does a typical week of a civil engineer look like, and that will also help you. And then lastly, in your research process, research a little bit more about the funder. So some funders, for example, the institution I currently work at, funding students is not the core function of the business, but they fund students that are related to the sectors that they work with. So there's many benefits to that. We can go into it another time. So find out a little bit about your funders. What are your funders' values? And that will help you to also just link it up in your actual application letter. So for now, I have come to, not come to the end. Let's consider this part 1. Part 2 of the video, I'm going to do a second video where I do part 2. And in part 2, I'm going to actually provide you with a sample that I have written of a hypothetical student. And yes, and I'll just go through with you and with actual samples of extracts of how I would possibly write the letter for somebody like me on the other side who would then be making a decision whether do they fund me or not. And please do comment below, ask some questions. I want to grow. I'm really working at growing this channel, but also I really want to add value to you. So yes, thank you very much for your time. Please do like, comment, subscribe, share this video with anybody else who may benefit. And oh, I almost forgot. I did promise, this is where it's good to have notes. I did promise I'd then provide you with a way to get the template that I've provided to help you do this reflection. So at the moment, I don't have my website up yet, so please connect with me on my Instagram. I'll also leave the handle below, and just DM me and I will then email you that a copy of that template. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I will see you next video. Thank you.